What's up YouTube? Jared, RedRacer video. Thanks for joining me for another one. Today's video, what are the 5 things that you must, not should, but must consider before modifying your car? And this applies to everybody. This isn't just muscle cars, this isn't just high horsepower stuff. 5 things that every single person should think about and consider before modifying their car. And we're getting into that right now. Once again, everybody, thanks for joining me. If this is your first time on the channel, this is a channel about cars, fast cars. My 2016 1SS twin turbo Camaro, she makes 929 wheel. She's burly, she's set up, she's got brake suspension, she's the real deal. She's ready to go. I hang out with a lot of like-minded people. We go out and do a lot of hood rat stuff. So if you want to watch cars and fun stuff and learn about the ins and the outs, because I am pretty intimately involved in this stuff, I'm your guy. I'm here to teach you guys whatever you want to know. I may not know it all, but I'm always going to try. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, guys, please hit the like, actually smash the like button. Make sure you hit subscribe, and then also if you would click the bell next to the subscribe button, that way you'll know every time I upload a new video, and those videos should be coming just about every other day now. We're working towards every other day. But guys, like I said, today's video, the 5 things that I think you must consider before modifying your car. I've got some keynotes here to keep me on task because I get a little sidetracked. I got squirrel syndrome. Let me hurry and pull these things up and we'll dive into it. Alright guys, number 1, and this may turn into like 6 or 7 things, but we'll try to make them like 1A, 1B. I'll try to keep it 5 things. Those videos seem to do really well when you call it 5 things, so I'm going to do the 5 thing. But number 1, why are you modifying this car? Okay, and that's kind of 2-part. Why are you modifying it, and do you? And I say that because of this. A lot of things that'll happen, and I've run into this a little bit. I haven't personally run into it because I've always kind of marched to my own beat, and I have built this car to be what I think this car should be. All the way down to color, to every single little sticker that goes on there. Vinny, thank you, my buddy. Got to go racing. The people that I support. I've been able to choose all of those things. And I'm glad that I did because I get great satisfaction out of this car every single day. But I think that a lot of people get into stuff, and a lot of people do this and kind of, I don't know, I don't want to, they do it for other people. They do it for the wrong reasons. And that's okay, you know, if you're out to like, you know, impress people or whatever. I'm not saying that's a bad approach. I'm not saying that you're dumb or anything like that. But in my opinion and in my experience, when I've seen a lot of people that have built cars like this and done these kind of things, they kind of fizzle out over time. Or, you know, they build it to make somebody else happy or build it around something else, and they just kind of end up not building the car that they want. And this is just, A, it's too much heartache, and B, it's a lot of money to put into stuff to just not build the car you want. So one of my biggest pieces of advice would be decide why you're modifying the car and then do what you like. Build the car around what you like. I'm not saying like you should go put like goofy stuff on the car, but hey, if you like goofy stuff, put a goofy stuff on the car and be happy with it. This is your car. Do what you want to do. Make this car yours. Because let me tell you, no matter how cool you make your car in your mind, there are always going to be people who talk crap on your car. Always. And I'm telling you, always. I get people bashing on my car. Not every day, but there are tons of people who don't like Lola, and that's okay, that's fine with me. But in my mind and in my head, I'm good with it, and I've built the car the way I want it. So that kind of is a 2-part thing. Another reason why I think you guys have to do what you like, and you have to decide why you're modifying the car, is you want to probably, and this is, I'm gonna call this number 2. We're gonna morph this into number 2 because I've got number 2. I've got my keynotes up here, and they're telling me this is number 2, so this is number 2 now. What is the long-term goal and what is the plan for the car, okay? And then plan accordingly. Meaning, what are you going to do with this car? Why are you really building the car? And this kind of goes back to number 1 a little bit. Why are you building it? What are you doing with it? Because a lot of people just start throwing power at the car. I am one of those people. I just threw power at the car out of the gate. And that was one of the first things I did. Looking back at it, I might have changed things. I would have maybe done tires first, and I would have maybe gone to bigger brakes first, or I would have done some other things maybe first. But you need to know going into it why you're doing it and what you're planning on doing with the car, because that will completely change the outlook and the way you build the car. A lot of people do things like this, including myself, and they go back and look and they go, oh man, if I could have done that differently, I would have done it differently. I built this car in the beginning just to go fast in a straight line. I just wanted to go and race McLarens and Lamborghinis and Bugattis and just whatever it was, and I just wanted to go and shock the world, so to speak. I wanted to be the guy who had a car that just surprised everybody. And that seemed like a logical goal at first, and it seemed like in my mind that'd be a lot of fun. Well, that got old. And then I wanted to start autocrossing, and then I wanted to road course the car. And then I just, you know, it morphed into This car being what I now have decided I want the car to be the most well-rounded 6th gen Camaro in the country. And in the beginning that was not the plan, and because of that I spent a lot of money and a lot of time and gave myself a lot of brain damage that I wouldn't have had to do if I just would have sat down and had a realistic conversation with myself in the beginning about where I wanted the car to go, what I was going to do to the car, and really just stuck to the plan, so to speak. If I'd have just driven the car around a little bit, taken it to some events when it was stock, kind of learned a little bit more before I started modifying the car, I would have taken a different approach. I would have saved myself time, brain damage, and money. Number 3, what could you afford? Don't rush, don't build it cheap. Cheap begets cheap, and do you have qualified people near you? So that's number 3, okay? We'll get into that a little bit more. What can you afford? The reason I say what can you afford, everybody has a budget, right? Everybody knows. 9 times out of 10, this stuff turns into a little bit more. It just does. Partly because things just come up, and partly because if you guys are anything like me, you want to do one thing, and then the next day, you know, somebody goes and beats you, or your other friend goes and does something else, and whatever. And let's be honest, you know, if you like cars like this, you got a little testosterone flowing in you probably, and you're probably a fairly competitive person. So even though it sounds like I'm saying you're building the car for someone else after I told you guys not to, there's always going to be a little bit of that. You guys are going to be competitive. You're going to build this thing up, get it going. You're going to feel like it's the fastest car on the planet, and then you're going to go out and get waxed by somebody, and it's going to set you off, and you're going to want to start doing more. So can you afford it? Plan it accordingly, and don't buy cheap stuff. And the reason I say that is this, guys. Everybody online, I'm on a lot of pages. I'm on a lot of different forums. I'm on the Camaro forums on Facebook. I'm part of like every single Camaro page there is. And I Instagram a lot. My Instagram's growing and growing. So guys, if you don't follow me on Instagram, please go follow me on Instagram at RedRacer Video. But I'm around a lot of these people and I see a lot of this stuff going on. And the old tale is like the guy who gets on every forum. As soon as they join the page, the first thing is like, hey, what are the cheapest headers? Or hey, are these headers okay? Hey, is this too much to pay for labor? All these kind of things. 2 things I'm going to say about this. A, don't just go spend money frivolously. That's not at all what I'm telling you guys when I say this. But I will say this. Cheap begets cheap. If you go out and look for the cheapest possible parts in the cheapest shop and the shop that gets you in the fastest and yada, 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 chances are, and I'm not guaranteeing this is going to happen. I'm not saying there's nobody out there that's affordable. But chances are, if you're going out looking for cheap, you're going to get exactly that. And I have seen time after time people build these cars and get into this, and they get so frustrated and so fed up that they just wish they never would have done it. And I would hate to see that happen to you guys. So guys, decide if you can afford this, build it correctly. Even if it means you don't do an extra modification, but the modification you did right, err on the side of doing it right. Oh. Sorry, I thought somebody crept up behind me. I'm paranoid. Anyways, don't go cheap. Cheap doesn't work. Cheap won't work. The last part of that is kind of the same one. We're going to keep this on number 3. Do you have qualified people around you to do the work? If you don't have qualified people around you, if you don't know of a shop that is, I'm not going to say they have to be GM only. Thankfully, JDP Motorsports is GM only, and I've been very, very lucky to have them be very close to me. But if your shop is kind of like an every single thing shop, and I'm not saying like they can't do Ford and Chevy and whatever. We've got other good shops near me that I would trust with my car. I won't ever go anywhere about JDP, but having said that, I'm just saying that there's not only one place you can ever go. But if you're going somewhere that, like, if you get the feeling that they just maybe aren't really super versed in it, but they're like, oh yeah, you know, it's just a car, it's all mechanics, it's all that. No, it's not. It's not. Find someone who specializes in what your car is. Find somebody with a track record. Find somebody that's done a lot of those and go there. Even if it means traveling, even if it means shipping the car, spending a little more money now will save you massive amounts of brain damage, heartache, and other, it's just better to do it right the first time. Do not step over $1 to get to a dime. Just don't. There's a old tale, or an old saying, not a old tale, I say that a lot. There's a saying. Basically, I sold cars for a while, right? So I've done finance, and I've always been in customer service. I've kind of always been like a customer service guy. I like people, so I just naturally gravitated to jobs like that where I got to deal with people. But they say that when you're buying something or when you're doing something or building a car or whatever it might be, there are some laws that always seem to apply to almost every situation. There are 3 things that happen in a transaction or in a build or when you buy something or whatever it might be. And there's three things that everybody's looking for. They want the best possible price, they want the best possible product, and they want the best possible service. And rarely, if ever, can you get all three. So when you're going into this, you guys have got to decide how important is price to you. Because for 9 people out of 10 or 8 people out of 10 or maybe even more than that, I think their answer is going to be that I want the best possible product and I want the best possible experience or the best possible service. And you know, for most people, price is going to come third. If price doesn't come third, that's okay. If price is number one and that's just all it is for you guys, that's fine. I get it. Everybody's got a budget. Not everybody's as fortunate as I am. I don't really call it fortunate. I had to come across a lot of misfortune to get to where I could do with this car what I had to do. But for a lot of people, price, I get it. That's going to be a thing. That's going to be something that hinders you. Do everything you can not to let that get in the way of quality parts installed by quality people. Just don't. I've seen it play out 100 times and it never, ever, ever works out good. There are other YouTubers who made videos. People pay too much. I go to this guy. He's great. A bunch of those YouTubers had their stuff blow up and they learned the hard way. So don't do that to yourself. Find a good shop. Spend a little more money. Even if it takes a little longer, I promise you you're going to be happy about it in the end. Number 4, and I'm watching this video get long, guys. I'm trying to get through this fast. Number 4, can you deal if your car breaks down? Or if something goes wrong, can you handle it? Financially, emotionally, relationship-wise, is your wife going to leave you if you have a car that sits broken? I mean, there's a lot to consider. This is a big deal. For most people, the car is like the second biggest investment they ever make. It's house and then it's car for a lot of people. So don't underthink this. This is a big deal and stuff happens. Take it from me. My car broke at one point and my turbos have been a pain in the butt. They're all good now and I love it, but there have been processes or times in the process where this has been a pain. It's sucked. It's literally about drove me to flipping nuts. So you got to decide, can I deal with it if stuff goes wrong? Because guess what? When you start pushing, and I'm not saying like intake, you know, simple stuff. You guys know what I'm saying. But if you really start pushing the envelope and trying to build a beast, if you want to build a car that you believe to be the most well-rounded 6th-gen Camaro in the country, you're going to deal with some stuff. So get that in your head right now. Stuff's going to happen. Stuff's going to come up. You're going to have to keep a level head, keep your head on a swivel, so to speak, find a way around the obstacle and keep pressing forward because stuff's going to happen. Number 5, guys, can you be responsible? I think this is almost number 1. Can you be responsible with the power and with all of the things that you get from having the car be this way? Can you be responsible enough? With great power comes great responsibility. When I'm driving around in this car that makes 929 wheel horsepower, it is really easy to get yourself into some stupid situations. It's easy to get the car sideways at freeway speeds that I won't disclose. It's really easy to get going too fast and have stuff coming up on you fast. There's a lot that could go wrong. And a lot of people get in these things and get all giddy like JoJo the Circus Clown, and I'm quoting Chris Farley, but there's a lot of, hey neighbors, there's a lot of stuff that could go wrong. Not just with the build, but when you're behind the wheel of these cars, there is stuff that can happen. Can you be responsible? Can you, in a tight situation or when things get crazy, are you a good driver? Do you know what you're doing? And if you can't answer that question confidently, guys, slow down a little bit, spend a little more time in your car, get to know your car, then go and start doing the modifications. The last thing I'm going to say to you guys is that I love you all. This channel is getting bigger by the day. I'm getting more followers. The watch time's getting better. I feel like I'm less of a cornball behind the camera and I'm getting a little more confident doing me. Thank you, honey, for the speech today. I love you very much. Guys, I'm loving what I'm doing. I can't wait to bring you guys another video. Thank you so much for watching. If there's anything else you guys think I haven't considered that needs to be considered before someone does something like this, please, down in the comments below, let me know. I miss out on stuff all the time. You guys are always good at checking me, so I appreciate that. Thank you guys so much. Please, like I always say, like, subscribe, make sure you hit the notification, make sure you share this with your friends, and I will see you guys on the next RedRacer video.